You've saved, you've planned, you've worked your whole life to get to this point. But here's the question most retirees get wrong. Now that I'm retired, how do I actually spend my money? Do you spend the same every year? Do you spend more early and taper off? Do you adjust for the market or stick to a set number? Most people never stop to think about their spending style, and that one mistake could potentially cost them hundreds of thousands over the course of their retirement. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 powerful spending strategies, plus real stories from people just like you, so you can create a plan that fits your lifestyle. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to spend your hard-earned retirement savings with confidence. Welcome to the Summit Wealth Strategies podcast. I'm Keith Fedor, your retirement specialist. I help people like you transition from saving well to truly living retirement well. One of the most important decisions you'll make in retirement is how to spend your money. Choosing the right spending style can seek to make your savings last while giving you the flexibility to enjoy life. Whether you're looking for stability, flexibility, or a mix of both, there's a strategy for you. Let's start with one of the simplest approaches: inflation-adjusted spending. With this style, you set a baseline spending amount in your first year of retirement and increase it annually to match inflation. This keeps your purchasing power consistent over time, even as costs rise. For example, if you start with $60,000 in your first year and inflation is 3%, your spending would increase to $61,800 in the second year. This approach works well for retirees who want stability and predictable spending. It's easy to plan, and you'll be able to maintain your current lifestyle expenses as things cost more over time. However, it may not reflect changes in your lifestyle or needs as you age, like reduced travel or increased healthcare costs later in retirement. Steve and Cheryl were both engineers who retired at 65 years old. Their personalities? Predictable and logical. They wanted their retirement to feel the same. They picked a baseline of $75,000 in year one, and every year since, they've adjusted their budget to match inflation. They've traveled to the same cabin in Vermont every fall. They buy the same brand of groceries. Their lifestyle has stayed consistent, and that's how they like it. This style is simple and creates predictability, but it may not adjust as easily to healthcare needs or big life changes. The second style is called the spending smile. This takes a more dynamic approach by recognizing how your spending changes over the course of retirement. In this strategy, you spend more during the early active years of retirement when you're traveling, exploring new hobbies, and generally more active. As you move into mid-retirement, spending tends to decrease naturally as your lifestyle slows down. Then, later in life, expenses may rise again due to healthcare needs. For example, you might spend $70,000 a year in the first 10 years of retirement and then reduce it to $50,000 for the next 10, and finally increase it again to $60,000 in the later years. This strategy reflects real-life spending patterns, making it highly practical. But keep in mind, you'll need to plan carefully to ensure you have enough for those later years, especially for healthcare. Janice was a high-energy former school principal who wanted to finally live a little. In her early retirement years, she went big: European cruises, new hobbies, even ballroom dancing. She spent nearly $90,000 annually for the first 8 years, but around 75, she slowed down. Less travel, more time with grandkids, and lower expenses. Later, her healthcare costs began rising, and she'd planned for that too. Her smile-shaped strategy gave her the freedom to live large early and rest easy later. This strategy works because it mimics natural spending patterns across retirement phases. The third spending style is called spending stages. It takes the spending smile a step further by breaking retirement into specific phases. For example, you might spend heavily on travel and hobbies in the first 5 years of retirement, and then reduce spending once your mortgage is paid off, and further adjust as certain expenses naturally disappear. Let's say you plan to spend $80,000 annually for the first 5 years and then reduce it to $60,000 once your mortgage is paid off. This approach is common when retirees have specific time-limited expenses like big travel, bucket list, or a mortgage. It's flexible and aligns with their unique spending patterns, but it requires detailed planning and tracking to execute effectively. Mark and Lillian had a goal: to visit every U.S. national park in the first 5 years of retirement. They budgeted $100,000 annually for this phase. They bought an RV, hit the road, and lived their dream. After 5 years, they sold the RV, paid off their mortgage, and dropped their spending to $60,000. By the time they were in their 80s, they were living comfortably, giving to their church, and spending just $50,000 a year. This style is most helpful for major life milestones or time-limited goals. The fourth spending style is called floor and ceiling, also known as guardrails. This strategy allows your spending to fluctuate based on market performance. In years when your investments perform well, you can increase spending up to a set ceiling. And in years where markets are down, spending is reduced, but never below a predetermined floor. For example, if your baseline spending is $60,000 annually, a down market might reduce your spending to $50,000, while a strong market could increase it up to $70,000. It adapts to real-time conditions, helping you avoid withdrawing too much during market downturns. It requires discipline and a clear understanding of your financial boundaries. Dave was a former small business owner. He was used to the ups and downs of income. He didn't want a fixed budget in retirement. Instead, he built guardrails into his plan. A base of $55,000 a year was his floor and a ceiling of $75,000. When the markets performed well, in strong years, he splurged: vacations, gifts, hobbies, and in weaker years, he pulled back. But he never had to worry about overspending. The strategy works because it's adaptive. You protect yourself in down markets while enjoying the upside when you can. Finally, we have blending styles, which allows you to customize your spending plan, combining multiple approaches. For instance, you could use an inflation-adjusted strategy for your fixed expenses like housing and healthcare, while applying the floor and ceiling approach to discretionary expenses like travel and dining out. This is a custom approach, allowing you to tailor your specific plan to your unique needs. Keep in mind, this requires careful planning and tracking to execute effectively. Mary is a retired nurse, and she's a world traveler at heart. She wanted her retirement to do two things: be stable and also adventurous. So we built a spending strategy that honored both. For her essentials, housing, food, insurance, we used an inflation-adjusted spending style to account for her bills. But Mary had big travel plans for the first 10 years. So we used spending stages to front-load her travel budget, $80,000 a year early on, and then tapering off later. And here's the fun part. She had a fun fund with guardrails, a flexible spending bucket that let her splurge when the market was up and scale back when there were downturns. Mary's plan gave her a combination of both freedom and predictability. Now let's talk about the Walkers, a couple whose faith was at the center of everything. They wanted to give generously to their church and help their grandkids with college, but they also wanted to protect their own future. So here's what we did. We used a floor and ceiling strategy to adjust their giving based on market performance. When things were good, they gave more. When the market dipped, they dialed it back, but never stopped. For healthcare and fixed costs, we used inflation-adjusted spending, giving them predictability and control. And as they got older, we applied the spending smile, spending more early on for travel and expenses, and gradually reducing lifestyle spending after age 75. Their strategy wasn't just numbers, it was value-based. It allowed them to give, to love, and to live without fear. And then there's Andre and Simone, one of the most thoughtful couples I've worked with. They came into retirement full of energy, travel, hobbies, grandkids, the works. We started with spending stages so they can enjoy their active front-end phase of retirement without holding back. Then we layered in guardrails for discretionary travel, giving them freedom with structure. And we created a healthcare contingency fund that adjusted for inflation, designated specifically for long-term care and unexpected needs. They told me, We want to live now, but we want to protect each other for whatever comes later. Their plan gave them confidence and flexibility to do both. So how do you choose the right spending style? Here's a few factors you can consider. 1, your retirement goals. Are you looking for stability, flexibility, or both? Number 2, your risk tolerance. How comfortable are you with fluctuating spending? Number 3, your expected lifespan. For longer retirements may require more conservative strategies. Here's an advisor tip. Start by categorizing your expenses into fixed and discretionary, and then match those needs to a spending style. For example, fixed expenses like housing may work best with inflation-adjusted spending, while travel can align with guardrails or spending stages. Choosing the right spending style can feel overwhelming, but that's where I come in. As a retirement specialist, I work with clients to create customized plans that reflect their goals, preferences, and financial situation. Together, we can build a strategy that works best for you. If you're ready to create a retirement spending strategy that fits your lifestyle, let's talk. Feel free to visit our website at summitwealthstrategies.com. You'll also find the link in the description below, and request a complimentary consultation with one of our retirement specialists today. Retirement isn't just about how much you've saved, it's about how much you spend. And now that you know the 5 key spending styles and how real retirees have blended them to fit their life, whether you crave stability, flexibility, generosity, or all 3, you can build a retirement strategy that reflects your priorities. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's planning their retirement. See you next time.